Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Scott Halverson, and today we are going to be talking about Session 0 again for the new player for Dungeons & Dragons. And I know there's a lot of things going on in your mind of what you should do first and what you should do second, what you should do third. But over my years of experience and the experience of people playing around me, one of the first things you need to do is just relax. Let's not get overwhelmed and understand that there's a lot to learn, but you'll learn it over time. So anyhow, so what you need to do is, the first thing I do is figure out what race you want to be. This is your most defining characteristic of your character other than your class, but this is how everybody in the world is going to perceive you. And in some campaigns, race is a big thing. Sometimes there's elves and there's dwarves and they dislike each other. So race. We're going to go over some races today. Not all the races you can play in Dungeons & Dragons, but the base races that come out of the player's handbook. We're not going to go into details. It's going to be a short video. We're going to go over some basic characteristics of each race, but we're not going to get into details. Maybe someday down the road we'll do a little bit of a lore video on the races and we'll talk in depth about them. But for now, we're just basing this whole series on new players trying to get into this game and trying to help them out without overwhelming them too much. Dwarves are known to be short and stout. Bold, hardy dwarves are known as skilled warriors, miners, and workers of stone and metal. They roughly stand under 5 feet tall usually, and they're so broad and compact, they weigh just as much as a human. So they're really short, stocky, wide, thick. They have the courage and endurance to match pretty much any of the larger folk. They have long memories, good brains, and they hold grudges for a long time. Generally, dwarves live in deep beneath the mountains where they live in clans and then form their kingdoms under there also. They're slow to trust elves, humans, and halflings, essentially. Yeah, so that's the dwarf. There you go. Think of something like Gimli off of Lord of the Rings. That's a dwarf. Dwarves do have multiple sub-races that you can get into, but we're not, like I said, we're not getting into the deep stuff today. We're just going to do the basics. Next, we're going to move on to the elves. They're slender, they're graceful, they're ranging 5 to 6 feet tall. They are definitely lighter than humans. They can live pretty much indefinitely. They've been known to live over 700 years. They do live they live hidden in the woodland realms. They don't generally socialize with us common folks, the rest of the races out there. Yeah, so that's the elves. There's also, again, various types of sub-race elves that fit any type of campaign. Next, we're going to move on to the halfling. So halflings are small. They're like children. They're about the size of children. They stand around 3 feet tall. They weigh about 40 to 45 pounds. They're kind and curious, and they can blend into a crowd real easily. Kind of think of a hobbit, but not as thick. So yeah, that's halflings for you. They make good rogues, make good wizards, stuff like that. Like I said, we're not going to get into the details of the character. We're just going to go over what they are and something to give you some visualization of what they are. Then we have humans, of course. If you're not sure what a human is, you didn't pay attention in school. We're going to move on to Dragonborn. Dragonborn are humanoid dragonkin of types. Yeah, they live in self-sufficient clans. They are big. They can generally stand 6.5 feet plus tall, and they weigh 300 plus pounds. Yeah, they make big. Let's see here. Dragonborn. Okay, we'll move on to gnomes. Gnomes are like halflings, but a little bit smaller. They're about the same size as halflings. They do have some vibrant expression, so gnomes generally dressing flamboyantly and have their hairs dyed, and makeups are crazy. They are very dedicated when they start something. They live in burrows, kind of like the hobbits. They live in little groups and hills and stuff. Yeah, but pretty cool. Pretty fun little fellers. If you like a little small character that's not halfling, well, then you gotta know them. They're a little disproportionate than halflings are. Then you move on to half elf. which is fairly self-explanatory. It's half human, half elf. You get some of the bonuses from the elf and some of the bonuses from the human. Not a bad way to do things. They're also, though, the problem with that is being a half elf, sometimes humans don't like them, sometimes elves don't like them. Sometimes they find it hard to find a place. But for an all-around easy character to play in D&D and have some of the benefits of both races, half elf are pretty handy. Then you have half orc. The big brutish half orcs. They're usually scars and strong and 5 to 7 feet tall, up to 500 pounds or 250 pounds. Sorry. They usually live in tribes or in the slums of bigger cities. Yeah, they're kind of cranky most of the time and foul and yeah, foul and cranky. Pretty much describes half orc. Next, you have the tieflings. Yeah, they're kind of creepy. Sometimes they have a tail, sometimes they have horns. They have an infernal bloodline, which means it could be demons or devils. Lots of times they have funky colored skins, ranging from blacks to pinks to reds to whites, gold, silvers. They're kind of creepy looking. And they are generally mistrusted by everyone. So it's hard for a tiefling to fit in and blend into a crowd. Maybe not the best race for a brand new player to play. They are very self-reliant and very suspicious of everything. So the mistrust goes both ways. Oh yeah, so that's tiefling for you. They're human-sized, nothing too fancy. And yeah, so there you are. That is the base classes you can play in D&D. Obviously there's more, there's other ones coming out of other books, and we'll go over some of those later, but for now we're just talking about the base stuff and not trying to complicate things. No power building, just making it simple, trying to figure out what race you'd like to play. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Until next time, my name is Scott. You can call me Guff. I'm signing off.